Konnichiwa, minasan. Watashi wa Matsu from Upright House. And I am repping the Osaka t-shirt today. I did live in Osaka for a while in the past, and I do miss it. So, hisashiburi desu. In case you happen to be Japanese and living in Osaka, let's just pretend that we just had a thing. Everybody else who's not in Japan, I wanted to go over a couple things you can do for your inner thighs, because that is something that has come up with a lot of clients here, and also I've had a lot of questions from people on the interwebs about things you can do for your inner thighs. So I'm going to take you through a couple things. I did get a question from a guy on one of my, on one of my foam rolling videos about how to foam roll an adductor, brevis, and pectineus, and all that jazz. And his comment was, I can't even get into that position. So if you can't even get into the position to foam roll this stuff, that is going to be a little bit hard, and that's what this video is going to help you with. So I have this box here. You do not need any special boxes. You don't need anything crazy fancy to do any of these stretches. This is just as a little prop to help me show you what you're going to do. So one part that gets super, super tight in the adductors is right here in the front. And this is a pain in the butt, sometimes literally, to try to stretch, because you sit there and you go, well, I'm going to do a stretch like this. Well, this doesn't get the front of my adductors, does it? Or you do one of the other inner thigh stretches that I've shown you, where you're down on the floor and you have one leg stretched out and you try to do it, and that doesn't seem to get it either. So, what am I doing? Not showing you the gold. All right, so here's the gold. What you can do is just use something to help you lean, and you're going to basically have, let me show you without the box in the way. You're going to have one foot forward like this, and then you're going to lean into that front foot. This foot, you're going to have to play around with the angle, right? You could have it out like this to get it. It might feel better that way. You might need to have it straight like this to get the stretch. Whatever it is, you turn your foot around, play with it, and lean over and away from that foot. So I'm just using this box to help me get into this. If I twist my hips a little bit more, I can feel it stretching through the inner thigh there. If I twist my hips open towards you right now, I get in a little bit of a different spot. And the first time you do this, this might take your breath away, so just be aware of that. But you want to hang out and let those muscles relax. And you can actually see now, the longer I hold, there's that stretch. The longer I hold, the more my inner thigh muscles open up and allow me to get lower and lower and lower. So I'm having to shift my foot even further away, and lower and lower. So that gets right into the tight inner thigh muscles. You just have this here to help you control the motion. So once you find a tight spot, you just want to hang out there and let it gently relax. If it doesn't relax, one thing you can do is then, it's a PNF stretching. Basically, you're going to be pushing in. It's almost like contracting the muscle that you feel is tight. Right? You're trying to contract it around 50% of its max, and then let it relax so you can go a little bit further. Alright, so these stretches, I will have clients who have really tight inner thighs. I'll have them do a stretch like this for at least 2 minutes, just to give your inner thighs time to figure out what you're trying to do. So here's another little variation. You can go down towards the floor. You can crawl forward a little bit more to open that nasty stuff up. Okay. If you want another variation, you can come down onto the floor. Here's my little mat here, little pad. Okay, and you can do a little bit of a unilateral stretch here. So I've got my foot out here, and I'm just using my left elbow to crank that knee back, right? And on me, I get a little bit of tightness right in there. On a lot of people, this is horrible, so your mileage may vary. But that can be particularly helpful. It'll get deep right up into there, right where adductor magnus and your medial hamstrings are kind of mushing together. Can help free that up a bit. What can also, so that one you can do for like 1 minute, 2 minutes again, opening that up. What can also help is coming out like that, right? So you have, I'm just perched up on one foot, and I got that foot out, trying to point it up. I can also point it down like that. This is again more towards that posterior side. So I know I have a little bit of an obsession there, but I know on most people these are pretty tight. Also, I play goalie, so I need to have these guys not be tight on me, so I'll do a lot of these kinds of stretches. You can point the foot. That's just the AC, don't be scared. That little buzz noise, if you heard it, AC. You can also point the foot forward like this. Now, if we want to start bringing this stretch back to the front of the hip like I was talking about, you can then turn and get a different angle on it. So the same principle as when you're standing, right? You just need to turn a little bit, play around with it. I can stay on my foot, and I can turn and, oh yeah, that gets it. So I can just turn like that, opens up the hip, I have the foot down, that starts getting that stretch right through the front of my adductors, a little bit deeper up into the groin. If you've never had a good adductor stretch, welcome to the party. Hope you brought the cigarettes, because these are awesome. The adductors, when they get all gnarly, when they get super tight, they will foul up every motion. Your hip flexion, so for those of you who are dealing with FAI, this is important. Hip flexion can be severely hampered. Your internal and external rotation will be severely hampered. So it's well worth the time to help open these guys up. Hope that gives you something fun to do on your Friday or Saturday nights, or weekday nights, however you like to roll. Please remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.